everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report. Sam and I are happy to have Chris Bloom with us today. Chris is a tennis coach at CHS. Pretty good record, Chris.
Yeah, we started off the season really well. We're 10-0 so far, and playing some pretty good tennis with some challenges left to come.
Right, you've got it's kind of a tough schedule, but you're nearing the end, aren't you? What, about a month to go of the regular season?
Yep, sectional comes end of September, and so we'll have conference in 3 weeks, and then a couple of big matchups with Newcastle and Rushville here in a couple of weeks. They're going to be some tough ones.
And we get a host to sectional?
Yep, we host every year, and so that makes it nice that we don't have to go anywhere.
And just 4 teams in that sectional, am I right?
Yeah, this year Union County doesn't have a team. They've struggled with numbers, so somebody gets a bye to the championship. And
Would you rather have the bye or play? There's different thinking on that.
yeah, it seems like every year for the past few years we've drawn where we have to win the 2 tougher matches. So I'm not opposed to playing because it helps keep a rhythm. I'm also not opposed to go ahead and get in the championship and just have to win 1. So I think we're okay for either. Right now, it just looks like Rushville is the team to beat. They're pretty good in their singles lineup, and we got to find a way to crack that to give ourselves a chance to win the sectional this year.
I have to ask you about East Central. Where are they at?
They're not in they're in our conference, but they're not in sectional, and they're not as up as they've been in the past few years. They're a little bit younger, so but they're still a solid team, and they're pretty good from top to bottom. They're just not as top-heavy as they
Seems
usually
like
are.
they're good in all sports, and of course, it's the biggest school in the area.
Yeah, well, and then a lot of their kids go out and do extra, and their parents will take them and send them over to Cincinnati to get work. And
You know, I got in trouble one time on the radio for calling EC, saying that was extra Cincinnati. I had some mother in the bowl listening to me and came down and gave me an earful. I said, turn off your radio.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with going out and getting extra help. That's what they do.
What makes the Spartans so good?
Oh, man, I would say that we've been successful because for the most part, our boys are buying into, and the girls are starting to get there, but the boys are buying into making sure that they're learning from every experience on the court, which sounds very simple, but I think that it doesn't matter, if it's practice or the match, they have to continue to learn and grow every time they step on the court, and they take that. And we're getting better each time that we play, and so that makes it more difficult to be beat. And so we keep putting an emphasis on limiting mistakes and forcing your opponent to beat you as opposed to beating yourself. So it's very simple, but I think that they understand that, and that's why we've been successful. It's just people have to come beat us.
These young men that you coach academically, they're doing well?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing pretty good in the classroom.
Okay.
And so, I mean, that's a start, but just trying to make sure that they stay focused. And like we said, we're 10-0, and by no means have we arrived to be favorites to do anything yet. Like I said, we have a few tests left, and so making sure that they keep it together in the classroom is a big part of staying focused to be able to enjoy yourself on the court.
You mentioned Rushville being pretty good. What other conference schools?
We've already played Batesville. We beat them at the beginning of season 3-2, and they're pretty solid all the way through their lineup. Greensburg is, I say, down compared to most years, but they're good across from what we've seen. The singles lineup is pretty good, so we haven't played them yet. We play them in a week, and so cracking their singles lineup, we've been pretty good. In the doubles lineup so far this year, we haven't lost at 1 doubles, and I think it's only 1 match that we've lost at 2 doubles. So we've been pretty solid there. We just have to find a way to take points on the singles side right now. But it depends on the matchups each night. That's what's different, is some teams are good in singles, some are good in doubles. And
You lost some pretty good players from last year's team that graduated and doing all right now at 10-0 with your returnees.
Yeah, we lost Jonah Graham and Seth Spurlock and Sebastian Birch that were in our lineup, and so they were a huge reason why we won the regional a few years ago. And Jonah's leadership was a hard a loss to take because he could get the guys to just do what they're supposed to do.
Pound for pound, that kid brought it every night.
He brought it. He did. He was a joy to have. And so this year our seniors are stepping up to be leaders, but it's different. It's not in the way that Jonah does it. It's a little bit more quiet, example, and as opposed to using words to encourage and call people out when they're not doing what they're supposed to and things like that. So it's a little different. But I think for the most part, this senior class understands what it's taken in the past and being willing to be flexible throughout the season, that things might change, but just be prepared. And that's what the seniors are giving us. It's just a steady presence and not high and low. So.
Who are the members of the team? Can you tell us?
Yeah, right now our one singles player is Gage Brown.
Okay.
Two singles is Riley Brandon. Three singles is James Williams. One doubles is Dustin McCarroll and Logan Shipley. Two doubles, Luke Morris and Colton DeBoard. And then JV, we have Ty McMullen, and then other freshmen and things. But we also have Chandler Fox, who hasn't played this season, hoping to get cleared this week from mono. So he was in our lineup last year as our three singles player. So it's interesting coming down the line. I mean, we've been very successful with the chance to add a piece to the lineup. Where that fits, I don't know. He's got to play his way in if he gets cleared by the doctor. So
I was going to say that there are only so many positions, and so important to work hard in practice, I would think.
Yeah, and then spend a little bit of extra time on his own, making sure that he's grinding out some of the things that they've done in the last month and a half that he's not been able to do. And it's tough because he was looked around as being, top 2 or 3 player on the team, but you don't know what physically that does to you. So we're hoping that it's a jolt to the team and it can boost us, but at the same time you look at rhythm that can be lost and those kinds of things. So but we'll know here soon if he's able to play, and hopefully he is and gives us options. But
has the pandemic affected you any?
I wouldn't say that it's affected us yet, per se, as losing a kid to quarantine or anything like that, but continuing to have conversations about being smart and limiting the risk of being traced and those kinds of things. Just kind of, it's frustrating to talk about over and over again, but it's a reality. So we're hoping that by the end of the season, like last year, we do what we needed to do, that we're all healthy. Hopefully everybody around us stay healthy too, so they don't have to deal with any of that.
Coaches as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Who helps you?
Bill Wilhoit.
Yeah, he's done that a long time.
He's done it a long time. And then Mike Davis also helps us. He just started helping with the girls last year. So a lot of support, a lot of good knowledge going into the boys about tennis, but also teaching them that there's more than just tennis to life, that you need to understand that there's a lot of maturity that you need to take place during your high school years. And that's a big push that we've had with our boys recently, because we don't always make the best choices, but
Well,
they have to learn,
that's part of
and you've
growing
got
up.
to teach through it. So
How does the middle school work with you?
we just added middle school this year, finally, which has been a big addition. And so I think they have about 9 matches on their schedule. A lot of them are new to the sport, obviously, which it's just, we're glad that they're getting matches before they get to high school. a little bit of knowledge. When they go play a team, it's not like a set match like we play for high school. It's based on just what they have. And so I think that we have around 17, 18 on the team this year.
Good.
Boys and girls, it's co-ed. And so that's probably a good number to start with. I wouldn't mind if that grows. I think that we have, at this point, some of the girls play volleyball, so hopefully in the future we can understand that there needs to be a little bit of sharing going on there, because that's not the season that takes place in the high school for girls tennis is in the spring, but not a bunch of people do spring tennis. So, but right now they're just getting experience. So,
What about below that? You have a camp this summer for the younger kids?
yeah, this past summer we have camp K through 8, and we had 103 athletes come out for camp throughout that age group, which was a
That's pretty
big
good.
jump from the year before, which we were at 50. And so it just keeps growing. I mean, there's a big interest. So the next steps in my mind are trying to create something that allows our younger kids and even the middle school kids to be competitive in the summer, and grow and learn the game, and even hopefully branch out and go to some places and play some tournaments and stuff and that. But it's growing. I mean, that's something we're super excited about, because kids were picking it up in high school. I mean, the senior class that we have now all started freshman year. A couple of weeks before we started the season, here we go, here's a racket, and we're behind the 8 ball at times because other schools are starting younger than us. And so we're playing catch up, but we've had a lot of good athletes and a lot of kids that are dedicated to what we're doing and doing it the right way. So we've made up that ground to be successful.
That's very encouraging that you had that many for camp. That's a lot of kids.
Yeah, it was. I always say it's a lot of fun having that many kids. It's also difficult organizing that many kids. But it's special to see, I think, for some of our high school athletes to see that they're a part of something that's really growing. And winning does a lot for that. They know that we've been successful, that things are turning around on the girls' side as well. And so that helps. And we have some families that have taken interest into tennis, and they were tennis players when they were younger, so that's going to help push us along too.
You, having been a Spartan athlete, you know what it's like for when you're on a varsity team, for the little ones to come and see you, and they look up to the kids in high school. And
Yeah.
so it's important for those varsity players to set a good example, because those little eyes are always watching.
They are. I don't think that our high schoolers fully understand how well a young child can see what they do and want to pick up on what they do. So, I mean, we push with our kids because we have young ones coming in and out all the time. My son is in and out. So we have conversations all the time about understanding their role in the community and representing themselves and their families in the right way. And I mean, we can go back to not always making the right choice, but we're trying our best to teach and make sure that they understand that they serve a greater purpose than just being there for themselves. There's a bigger purpose for them. So
and correct language and proper language around the little ones.
yeah.
That's all part of it. So, yeah.
Coaches try to encourage their athletes to participate in other sports. What about you?
Oh, I don't want them to just play tennis unless that was what they wanted to do. I want them to do other things. There's a lot of times where they're not going to be able to do a whole lot for our sport in a winter season unless they want to travel and go do those kind of things. And so they need to play other sports. It helps their bodies to develop. And I think that our sport, I think we've talked about this quite often, our sport translates to quite a bit of other sports with the footwork that you have to do and the coordination with your body to be able to move and adjust to the ball coming. I think that we have quite a bit of talk about we have basketball players that play, and how you can use that sport. And even baseball is probably a big one that we've had a lot of baseball players to teach through the movements that they do in baseball that translate to tennis. And so most of our teaching isn't just specifically tennis. It's teaching through other sports to help them understand. They've done basketball. They've been doing baseball more of their life than they are tennis. So it's like they understand that language. So we try to teach through that as well. So, but no, they need to play other sports.
Sure. How long does a typical practice session last, Chris?
We typically start preseason before we get into school. We'll probably go 2.5 hours when official practice are starting. And then we get down to under 2 hours about. It just depends. If we've had a couple of rough matches, we'll get down to 1.5 hours and get out. And if I think we need more work, we'll bump it up a little bit. But in the summers, we typically have 2-hour workouts 3 to 4 times a week. And they have other sports that they go to, so they're not there all the time. But as long as they're doing something, it's better than nothing. So
You have the girls in spring, the boys in the fall. Is it unusual for a head coach to have both boys and girls, or is that something you see?
Well, there's a few schools around that they do both. Not all of them. So, but you see it more often than you think. So, start to understand the style that most schools are trying to teach and those kind of things. But
has the new field house worked out well for your girls to have a place to start before the season actually, a place to work out, I guess is what I'm saying. And
it gives an opportunity to get in there.
Right.
And so there are times we end up utilizing some of our elementary gyms where I teach just to be indoors and work on strokes if we have, there's still practices going on, and sometimes getting in at 7 o'clock isn't always ideal. So.
Right.
But it's there, it's available to use before season, which is good in the winter because we don't have anywhere to go with a full court and things like that. So, yes, it's a good place.
And even if you couldn't use that, it takes the load off of some of the other gyms.
Yeah. It's a good addition to the community.
On Thursday, you have Oldenburg Academy coming to Connersville.
They're down. I think last year they lost all their seniors. We've had this happen probably twice this year where teams aren't full, so they're only going to have 4 on their team. Sometimes you just can't do anything about it. So they've been low on their numbers this year, so they'll only play 3 spots. But I mean, there's nothing we can do about that.
Sure, you welcome fans to the meets, right?
Oh yeah, we've been pretty packed. My wife took a picture of, this was probably about a week ago. We were finishing up a match, and Gage was playing on court 1, and court 1 is pretty intimidating opposed to most schools because people sit all along the wall, and so you get pretty packed, and she took a pretty neat picture of that. So we welcome fans. It is a different atmosphere than any other place we go to because they're not really spread. They're straight down through there, and even we just played Mount Vernon on Saturday, and their coach wrote up in an article that it felt like a postseason atmosphere, and I would probably agree, and that's good because that means that our fans are engaged, and we're engaged to that competition, and that's what we want to see.
We have a great facility for tennis. We have a great facility for tennis at CHS.
A little biased, but it's the best. It's the best facility around.
It's one of the reasons we host a sectional, right?
Yeah. We got lights. It looks good.
Yeah, lights makes a big
difference. It's a beautiful layout, right?
Yeah.
We're really lucky to have that. We didn't at one time.
No.
So you played when you were in high school. You're a 3-sport guy. Yeah. So
You a record holder, Chris?
I played pretty well. I don't know if
you can tell us. I
don't know if we're holding records. I won a lot. That's.
Right. You're the right guy to have as a tennis coach.
Pretty successful in all 3 sports that you played.
Yeah.
We enjoyed We enjoyed watching you play basketball. I know that. Lighting it up from downtown.
Yeah, like to shoot the three.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Tennis your favorite, though?
Oh, I enjoy basketball. That's
know.
probably
Yeah.
that's what I've enjoyed. Now, I say this all the time. I mean, getting into tennis, being around it, I love playing it. When I was in high school, and there's a different passion for it now as a coach that's learning more about it, and how to teach it and how to go about that has changed the way that I've looked at tennis. In high school, it would probably my third sport. But I mean, now I just, when it comes to competition, I just enjoy it. It doesn't really matter what it is, but if we're talking about a sport, basketball is my favorite.
Do you play now?
Play tennis? Yeah, I play.
Recreationally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a group that gets out. I haven't gotten out very often. Well, Mondays we'll go play. Bunch of former players that range in ages, from in their 20s all the way up into 50s. And so we get out and play singles and doubles and try to revitalize what's going on here. And
Great.
so, yeah, it's good to play.
Also, in addition to Oldenburg coming to Connersville for tennis, the boys soccer will be home to Centerville on Thursday. Friday night, the Spartan play football at South Dearborn, making the trip to Aurora. And on Saturday, girls golf, the AIAC tourney is already here. So it sort of means the end of the fall season coming up, right, Chris, when you start seeing the tourneys that are being played. Boys soccer will be home to Rushville at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. Cross country at Marion at 9 a.m. What time do they have to leave to make it to Marion?
I have to leave about 6 in the morning to get up
That's
there.
a pretty good trip, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cross country will be, as we mentioned, at Marion at 9 o'clock. Girls soccer at South Dearborn at 11. Lawrenceburg at Connersville. Boys tennis at 10. CHS hosts the volleyball invitational starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll be talking a little bit about football. Spartan's still struggling, Sam.
Struggling. The other night, Scottsburg, that was a makeup late substitution. I thought for the first half that
looked good. I
looked pretty good.
Right, till the last couple of minutes of the first half.
Late in the first half, gave up scores, and I don't know. I don't want to say they hung their head or tucked their tail, whatever cliche you want to use, but it just came out the second half, and it just didn't seem to be there. But I don't think it's for lack of trying. It's we're just not very big.
Just didn't.
And so we'll see what happens. We go this weekend down to South Dearborn, conference game. I know they've been down there. They went and played their scrimmage down there. So they're used to being there. South Dearborn has new turf field. All three Dearborn County high schools now have turf fields, thanks to the casinos. And
kind of sort of holds the heat, they tell me.
Yeah, it does. It's different to walk on.
Yes,
but sure looks nice.
Sure does, right? You don't have to mow it.
Yeah. So it'd be nice to have a good crowd go down and follow the Spartans.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hour and 20 minutes down there, probably on a Friday night.
Down by Cincinnati.
I think we got some film from last week's
for a little bit from Friday night. So let's look at that right now.
It's a lot nicer than the week before when we had an hour and 20-minute rain delay.
Yeah. It was a beautiful night for a game. If the kids can get a win here one of these days, that will increase the morale.
Yeah, sure will.
Go on to some better things. So
some nice footwork there. Spartans take it in 4 score, and Scottsburg. Interesting thing about Scottsburg, their coach this is his 7th year, and he has built this team because they didn't play from 1984 until 7 seasons ago when they brought football back. They had suspended it. So his record has slowly gotten better. And you got to give them a lot of credit there that to build something from nothing. And not even, I don't know what they did with their field during that time, but maybe just played soccer on it and maybe maintained it. But it was off to the races in the second half for the Warriors of Scottsburg. And final there, 40-12. Spartans now 0-3, looking for that first win come Friday night, and no better time.
I know the kids will keep trying. And
I think there's some schools on the schedule. I know Rushville's 0-3, and we got them coming up over at their place. We got Simon Kenton out of Independence, Kentucky
to see what
coming here, and they're 0-3. Now, I don't know what kind of competition they play down
That's
there.
true, yes.
Northern Kentucky and greater Cincinnati area, the competition is usually pretty tough in football.
Yes, they play football real well in Ohio. Here are the area teams and their records. Franklin County is 3-0. They won over Rushville 54-0. Centerville is 2-0. They won 28-13 over Park Tudor. They meet Winchester on Friday. Union County is 2-1. They won 44-7 over Nicetown. They play Hagerstown on Friday. Richmond is 1-2. They lost to Indianapolis Tech 35-0. They play Muncie Central on Friday. Cambridge City is 0-2. They play Northeastern on Friday. Rushville is 0-3. They lost 59-0 to Franklin County, as we said. They play Vasile on Friday. The Spartans 0-3 and lost 49-20 to Scottsburg at Nearborn on Friday. So, Chris, always glad to have you here, and I know you're hoping the Spartans can turn things around here shortly and get a victory.
Yep, I do. I think that if we just talk about other programs that, success goes a long way, and it's nice to see the school be successful and not have to fight through everything. And football struggled, and I know they have probably some injuries and some kids out that are affecting that, but you'd just like to see them all be successful and be the school that most people look at. Like they know that the battle's coming. So
I'm sure they'll keep working at it.
Rising tide lifts all ships, or something like that.
That's good.
It's good for everybody. Good for the community. Puts pride in the community, and we see that that when our teams do win, that how proud people are and how they support them. But a lot of times we think we got a lot of things wrong with Connersville, but there's a lot of good things that go on here too. And
it's good.
It's up at 19th and Grand and out on Spartan Drive. There's a lot of good things that happen.
Yep.
Got a good school. I think we'll be very proud of it and the products that we turn out.
Yeah, well, right here's one that's come back, and that's great. We like it when people come back and give back to the community, and too many young people, and I understand it too, going other places.
Sure.
But boy, it's nice to have them come back.
Chris, thanks for joining us here tonight on today's program, and we're always happy to have you. And great luck with the boys, and when the girls show up after Christmas, you work your magic on them.
Hopefully I can come back in here after we maybe win a sectional
There you go.
push on. Maybe we can have more conversation. If we can get
Win a
that.
regional.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
Where's regional played?
Richmond.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris Bloom's been our guest, Spartan's tennis coach at CHS. And thanks everybody for watching us here on this edition of the Spartan Sports Report.